All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about a journey that so many of us are on, even if we don't have a name for it. It's the journey of coming home to yourself, especially when you've been living with the quiet, invisible echoes of trauma.
Let's start right here with this idea. We tend to think of trauma as something big, loud, and obvious, right? A huge, dramatic event. But the truth is, the deepest hurts, they're often born in the silence.
So, this first part is all about what we call unseen trauma. It's a kind of hurt that comes not from what happened, but from what didn't happen. So, what exactly is quiet trauma? Well, it's the emotional pain that grows from the absence of things you desperately needed as a child. Think of things like validation, a real sense of safety, or just having someone truly in tune with your feelings. It's the ache of what wasn't there. And this kind of trauma lives in these small, seemingly forgettable moments that just happen over and over again. Moments where you were dismissed or maybe shamed for feeling a certain way. Moments of being ignored or left to figure out big, scary emotions all by yourself. Or maybe being made to feel like your needs were just a burden. Each one might seem small, but together they build a powerful pattern.
And the effect of this is huge, because over time, these experiences, they don't just stay in the past. They actually become the lens you see the entire world through. And it's often a lens that's colored with mistrust, with fear, and with this learned habit of abandoning your own needs.
Okay, so that brings us to how we learn to get through all of this. And this is so important. Your adaptations weren't weaknesses. They were actually your superpowers. They were brilliant survival strategies. As kids, we are absolute geniuses at adapting. To feel safe, to feel like we belong, we might have picked up a set of unspoken rules. Rules like, okay, love isn't just given, it's conditional. Or being good is how I get accepted. Or maybe my needs are just too much for other people. Sound familiar at all? You learn to become hyper-aware of everyone else's moods, just to stay safe.
And please, if you take away one thing, let it be this. These behaviors were not signs that you were weak or broken. Not at all. They were incredibly smart adaptations. They are exactly how you managed to survive.
So, what happens when we carry those childhood survival skills into our adult lives? Because let's be real, they almost always come with us. The past just doesn't stay in the past. Well, the answer is right here. Even if your conscious mind has forgotten the specifics, your body remembers. Your nervous system holds on to those old patterns, and they become our default settings, our automatic reactions to things today.
And this is where we can start to flip the script on ourselves. You know that thing we call people-pleasing? What if it's really a deeply learned survival response? And what about perfectionism? So often, that's just a way to try and stay safe from criticism. Feeling guilty when you set a boundary. That's just your system prioritizing old patterns of safety over your own authenticity. See the shift? It's moving from judgment to understanding.
Now, as human beings, we are meaning-making machines. It's what we do. So to make sense of all this pain, we start telling ourselves stories about it. And let's get really clear on this. Trauma isn't just the event itself. A huge part of its power comes from the story you told yourself about it, the meaning you made about your worth, about your place in the world because of what happened. For some of us, that story might sound a lot like this. A deep, core belief that your feelings, your needs, your very presence, it's all just too much for people to handle. Or maybe your story's the other side of that same coin. That persistent, nagging feeling that you are just fundamentally lacking, that you're not enough and you have to constantly prove that you are. And for so many of us, this is the story we carry. The belief that love isn't something you just get. It's something you have to work for, something you have to earn, every single day. So these stories, they basically become our internal programming. And they create this really weird situation where our nervous system actually feels comfortable in situations that are familiar, like chaos or emotional distance, even if what we consciously want is peace and connection. We get drawn to what we know, not always what's good for us. So what do we do about all this? How do we even begin to break these cycles? How do we start the real journey back to ourselves and move from just surviving to actually truly living? Well, it all starts with one simple thing: awareness. It starts by getting curious and asking yourself this one powerful question. The next time you feel that jolt of anxiety or that urge to please someone, just pause and ask, wait, is this reaction truly me in this moment?
Or is this an echo from my past? Is this just my old wiring kicking in?
So the path forward really isn't about erasing your past. It's about building new pathways in your brain. And it kind of boils down to 3 steps. First, awareness, just recognizing these reactions for what they are, old adaptations. Second, shifting, creating even a tiny bit of space between a trigger and your usual reaction. That space gives you the power to make a conscious choice. And finally, connection. In that moment of choice, you learn to turn towards yourself with kindness instead of abandoning yourself like you learned to do.
And while you're on this path, please hold this truth as close as you can. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You are layered. You are complex. You are filled with stories, adaptations, and younger versions of you who are all doing the absolute best they could to feel safe, to feel seen, and to feel loved. Because that compassion, that's what brings you here. The goal isn't to become some new, perfect person. It's simply to arrive in the present moment, able to feel at home in your own skin, with all of your beautiful, messy layers. Welcome home.